I'm concerned about here is that we need something similar to CAPME. EcoDisco, for example, we submitted a program to the regulator based on the deluge of requests from customers for this. And if they approve it, we will do it.
That's any house.
Any house, we will do it. Because it is important for the distributor to be in charge of the metering process, because then takes full responsibility for that meter. If you meter yourself, why should I take responsibility if something goes wrong with the meter? We'll be back to square one, quarreling over whether it's read right, it didn't read right, oh, I got it from this manufacturer. It goes back, forth, back, forth. Well, what if you can get from the manufacturer, you can get from the disco.
Oh,
no, if you can get, if customers can go to
buy from the manufacturer.
Yes, of course.
But some of them in Nigeria complain that discos.
We've crossed that bridge. Yes, in initial stage, clearly, it's in initial stage, because we thought there wasn't the capacity to meet with what we wanted. Many discos tried to import, but we've gone past that stage, and many of us. Again, I speak for EcoDisco, but most discos are getting from Nigerian manufacturers. Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard the narrative that there are some new meters that are hung up on the poles, and sure, those ones, they move with the speed of light? People say that then it's overcharging them, and they're really concerned about it. Have you heard that narrative?
Let me first of all, those are the smart meters. Remember,
so the smart meters actually consumes more, or runs faster.
Hold on. Remember, on this platform, I had discussed the fact that most of the meters we have are either these postpaid meters or these the prepaid meters that we have, and that many of them are prone to bypassing.
Which the smart meter can correct.
Which the smart meter works in the same technology as your phone. Yeah. You know, the consumer, you know what you're using. I, the operator, I know what you're using. We hardly quarrel over phone bills and all that. So that's the platform we want to move metering to. It's a totally different level. So what many of them have, we've started with pilot programs. For example, in EcoDisco, we have a pilot program in Dolphin Estate. First and foremost, the meters are not easily accessible. That's why they are hung, and they're in clusters. And if you go,
are those ones metering the transformer?
The homes. Yes, there are different transformer meters, but these are the homes. So when you go to a cluster, for example, if you wanted to bypass, if you manage to get up there, you wouldn't even know which is yours, which one you are going to disconnect. What is located in your premises is merely a reader, unlike what we have today, where you can.
No, but the ones we have today in the homes, are there smart meters? Because I thought
that's what they're not.
So what if you have the smart meters in the homes?
No, we don't want to. We don't want anything that would enable the customer tamper with the meters, because people will invest in anything to bypass meters, and we don't want that. We must reduce the frequency of quarrels over bills, and that's why we're moving to that. We have not gotten yet.
But I thought you said you can't quarrel over phone bills. So if you have
no. What I'm saying, if you have the smart meter, I mean, is your phone meter with you at home? It is in a remote location. It's in a remote location. All you are doing. Your phone is just a reader. You say your XYZ is the balance on your account.
So that's the
you can't tamper with that. Yeah. But if you had access to it, you could tamper with it. So look, technology will solve a lot of these problems.
I'm concerned, as I am curious about this privatization that was allegedly wrongly delivered. What do we do now?
No, there's no going back on it. Look, you guys know so much about power today because it's been opened up. It used to be mysterious to every one of us. Our connection with power in those days was you switch on your light. If there is power, you thank God. If there isn't, you abuse somebody, and then put on your generator. But today, we all know how the interplay of the value chain. We know you need gas. None of us knew that before. You need, there is something called Genco, they generate. We just had this behemoth called NEPA, then changed to PHCN, and nobody knew anything else. So if for nothing else, that democratization of the power sector, the knowledge of the power sector is huge. And when you know something, you can begin to provide solutions. And which is why we're looking at where the risks lie in the value chain. And you begin to tinker with it. So if you feel somebody in the privatization is not working, there are agreements. You enforce the agreements.
In the light of
that's how you deal with issues.
In the light of the minister's comments,
sure.
Should we revisit the privatization exercise?
I don't understand what you mean by revisit. It's a work in progress. It's been privatized. It's brought up issues. You start dealing with the issues one after the other. Whether it's on the generation side, supply side, transmission, you keep dealing with it.
You are in the core of this.
Sure.
If you were to give a timeline on when we'll have electricity constantly, at least up to half of the day, what time frame would you say?
By the way, there are some parts in Lagos, again I speak for Eco Disco, that get close to 23 hours supply.
Okay, we'll go to break, but we'll let you, we'll come back and give you more time in a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. Well, what should be done about tariff?
Tariff should reflect the cost in the minimum, because that's the one major requirement you need to revamp the entire NESI. Look, there was a global conference about a month ago in Copenhagen on power, and Africa was center stage, and you can't discuss Africa without Nigeria. And when they were listing the constraints to coming in to invest, there's money waiting to be invested in Nigeria. The number one constraint is lack of cost-reflective tariffs. Even the power recovery program that's been supported by the World Bank itself has advised that we revisit this issue of tariffs. Yeah. But naturally, tariff is a sensitive political issue. We can understand that. So we're looking for ways of balancing the interests of, let me say, the masses with those of what share economics dictates. And that is the problem. And each time you do this sort of maneuvers, it does not give investors the confidence to bring in money. Otherwise, the money is there. That's why I keep going back to telecoms. We did it in telecoms. When phones first came, they were huge. Cost of line, cost of handsets, and blah, blah, blah. But the regulator then said, just watch it and wait. And what they did was they allowed market forces dictate prices, and that brought in more investments, more phone companies came out, competition came, and everything crashed to the point today where they're begging you to come and take SIM cards.
It's a very...
it will work for power as well.
It's a topic that can be exhausted, but we appreciate your coming on today. Mr. George Atomi is a director in Eco Disco. We're back in a moment on the same perspective in a moment. Don't go away.